One. G'day, guys. This is Jay here from Journey of a Whitefeather. Chat with Jay, Robin Hood Effect. There's koalas, kangaroos, and Steve Irwin impersonations. Got my hat on from the Calgary Stampede. Look forward to seeing you maybe next year. So, go see some rodeos and whatever. But we love metal. Everyone knows, I'm in a couple of bands. I love Wasp and a bit of the old rock and roll with Pat Benatar. But I've got one of the best death metal bands in Australia here, right here. I put it, how it is. You put a bit of sauce on it, but I'm not lying. These guys are fantastic. I know this guy's brother here was in the Slayer band. I'm spewing. They didn't keep going. But in Malice's wake, lead singer Shaun Farrugia, and we got him on for two reasons. Number one, talking about death metal, and hey, I tell you what, the voice is unreal. And we can talk a bit about that. But sound with regards to, I guess, coming down to music, talking about sound, talking about audio. Live bands, you're in the hands of a sound engineer, but this bloke here, he does such a wonderful job, mate. I've just given you the rock star deserving intro, and tell us all about it, man. We've been mates for years, just to let you know, we've been mates for years on the scene, so it's been a pleasure to finally get him on. But as I said, with regards to sound, let's get on. Tell us a little about In Malice's Wake, my friend, and tell us about those bloody vocals.
Firstly, it's a pleasure to be chatting with you, man. It's really good to see you. That's probably the best intro I've ever had in my life. So I'm going to walk into tomorrow feeling, a little bit bigger. In Malice's Wake has been my baby for over 20 years. Where these days, especially, more of a thrash death metal crossover. Something I've done with my younger brother, Mark, who plays the drums for the whole time. We're about to release our 5th album. We play shows all around the traps, and it's just something we do out of absolute love. We were privileged to play support to the US Legends Possessed last weekend, which was like a highlight for me, man. Down at the Croxton, massive turnout, just that sort of thing reminds you why it's so special, so important. So a lot going on with the band, and separate to that, I run an audio business. Don't really do any live sound. That's a bit too scary and stressful for me, but absolutely. I'm very excited to record and mix bands, especially heavy music, but I've done a bit of everything. It's a fairly new venture to me. I've been obsessed with it maybe the last 4 years, and trying to perfect the craft of it. But the last maybe 2, been doing it semi-professionally, working a day job alongside it, but been lucky enough to record a number of EPs for bands, work with some really great bands. Melbourne-based thrash band called Narcissifier. We finished their EP in April, so they're just putting that together to have that come out. Yep. I've done a bunch of like remote tracking, a bit of mixing. I've just finished composing a soundtrack for a short film up where I'm living in Tooten in regional Victoria. There's a lot going on, man.
It's called? Is that what it's called?
Yes, Tooten. It's out near Castlemaine. And my family and I have been here for almost a year. We're about a week off being here a full year. So it's been a great move, man. And for a little while I was concerned, it's an hour and a half to rehearsal for the band. But we've just really made that work, man. Whenever we've got a show, we'll do weekly rehearsals, maybe 5 weeks out. Put the kids to bed, drive down. Get to have an hour with dudes, have a good laugh, play some music, and then, it's other than that, it's just living in a great place, and it feels pretty good.
Yeah, mate, you're in a good spot there. And I think the big thing is I've seen you with In Malice's Wake. I've been a fan of yours for obviously years. We've known each other obviously for quite a while. And
we have.
You've such it's amazing that the thrash voice is what gets me. I mean, we've got my mate Trevor who does Blackie Lawless from Wasp, and that's hard enough.
What a voice.
I know. He pulls, and you've heard him, he pulls it off. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how
I cannot do what he does for the record. That voice is a hard voice to imitate, man. He does a great job.
Have you seen his Judas Priest?
No, I haven't.
That is the best. That's one of the best in the world. I'm claiming that he was going to kill me now when he says that. He's an A-class show. Like I reckon hint, hint. Here's a bit of a. How about Sons of Halford teaming up with Malice's Wake for a show? I reckon that would go off really, really well.
That would be a great fit. Yeah, we've sort of in that crossover section where we can play with a lot of different bands. We played with traditional heavy metal bands. We play with thrash metal bands, death metal bands. We've got enough sort of darkness and black metal sort of influence where we'll fit on a show with those the bands of that type.
Well, I reckon this is the way, mate. I know they're coming back next year. So great. I think I reckon maybe Malice's Wake meets Judas Priest. I reckon that would be because they are a world class act. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm not familiar with them. I'm gonna have to have a close look. And every single one of us in the band are huge Halford and Priest fans. So
this guy does it, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You will see this guy. I mean, and his jacket. If it goes by his jacket for starters, they did Max Watts a couple of years ago and blew the house apart, mate. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man.
So you get to
keep
watch
an eye out for sure.
Absolutely. Have a bit of a look. We'll talk about that later. But we've gone on within Malice's Wake. It's been great 5 albums. But your passion for audio, I think a lot of people go in and, they want to talk about, mixing. It's such a different life these days where you can actually go in and start doing these mastering and mixing albums. So what do you do? Where does it all start? I mean, you see it at the NCD, but when you go mastering and when you do this and do tracking and all this stuff, I don't know how I wrap my head around. I'm having a headache just thinking about it. I mean, obviously you love it though. So tell us a little bit about it and tell us what the people need to know about it. There's a lot of bands out there are looking to actually make their own albums and might come and see you.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's so for anyone that hasn't done it before, I guess we've been doing albums since 2005, and I've always used external engineers. We've been lucky to work with some great people, but I take for granted that everyone just understands how the whole process works, and it's not really the case. So generally, for anyone that hasn't recorded before, always starts with the songs and you as a band. Creating songs that you're proud of. And once you've got a collection of songs that you think you might want to make a recording with, usually the best thing to do is to go out and play them live. Because once you test them out on an audience and you know what it feels like to play it in a room and you sort of gauge people's reactions, you get a feel for what's great about the songs, where it drags. I mean, you've probably felt it yourself when you're live and some parts really slam and then other parts you can feel the room sort of lose the energy. And playing the songs that you intend to record live a number of times, it really highlights what's great and what still needs to be worked on. For a lot of bands, they'll get a producer on board, someone that has been a songwriter for a long time and can listen to their music with, I guess, fresh perspective and can give them a bit of an insight on, how the writing can be improved and, listen to the project and hear what it needs. But a lot of bands will self-produce, which we've, for the most part, and you can hear.
Is that what you've done for Malice's Wake? I was going to say, is that what you've pretty much done? Have you gone to someone, or how's it all work with you guys?
So for us, I guess we've always, I've always produced I've sort of been the main person, I guess, that holds that manages the project and makes sure it's all running smoothly over the years. But I think early on I can hear where the songs, needed still a little bit of work, and that's something just after 20 years you get a bit more of an instinct for. So I say we self-produce, but generally these days we've our last few albums we've recorded with a great guy called Chris Malco, who runs a studio called Monolith Studios in Melbourne, and he's great, and I love working with him because he makes the process easy. He's in a band himself, Orpheus Omega, and he's a great songwriter, but it's very difficult to wear the hat as the person writing the songs and also have that external sort of viewpoint. So he will listen to what we're doing. Generally, songs-wise, he hears it as being quite great to begin with, but where I rely on him as a producer is I'll go in to do my vocals and he'll engineer them, and he's great at suggesting different things to try, different phrasings, different voices, and I have a lot of faith in his opinion. So having him produce my vocals especially has been really beneficial.
Right.
But I don't mean to get too sidetracked. So once you get, say you're a band, you've got the songs exactly how you want them done. Well, then generally you'll approach someone who will oversee a project. Now, the people we've worked with, they will be a recording engineer and also plan to mix the project as well. So they will suggest a few studios, meet with the band, talk about what the project's going to look like. And generally, once you all have a bit of a agreed idea of how the process is going to look, you'll put a deposit down with your recording engineer, and then you'll book some studio time.
How much the cost for all this stuff there, mate? Because everyone's asking about costing, because obviously you know what's going on. What's the
Yeah. So in our experience within Malice's Wake, we have worked out these days our process is we'll go we'll budget for about $10,000 for maybe a 10-track album, start to finish. So what that would generally include is going to a pretty high quality studio to record the drums. A lot of this you can record from home these days. Interfaces are great. You can record, for anyone that doesn't know, what's called your DI signal, which is basically you'll plug your guitar into an interface and record the raw signal that the pickups put out, and then you can edit that up and then send it through an amp later or an amp sim. But the drums, you really benefit from having a fantastic studio with great gear, especially a really good sounding room. It's a hard thing to pull off just in a shitty rehearsal studio room, because the room will sound boxy, small, just doesn't have the sound of a good studio. So generally, a lot of your budget will involve we usually budget for 5 full days for maybe 10 tracks, and on your first day with a really good engineer, they'll help you tune the drums up. You might have a drum tech on board too that's responsible for making sure those drums physically sound great. So once you've got it sounding great in the room, your recording engineer will set up all the mics and make sure what's being captured is really high quality. And then the most important thing that they do from there is make sure that session feels great, that the drummer is able to overcome any challenges they have, because there's always challenges.
Yeah, of course.
We play, Mark's been playing for 20 years and he's brilliant, but every album he records, he's going to try to push himself, to his limit.
Right.
And there'll be moments of frustration, and there'll be moments where it's just a big pain in the ass, or there'll be small arguments about, how the songs are supposed to go. So a really good tracking engineer, or the person overseeing the show, will keep that vibe positive. They'll know how to help the performer sort of navigate things going wrong and things like that. And they can look a number of different ways, and everyone has a different personality too. So it's really important for that engineer, if they're doing a great job, to keep the vibe of that recording.
Would you like to get into that, mate? Oh, sorry to cut you off there. Would you like to come into that?
No. Yes, absolutely.
With what you do, engineering, audio, for someone who's just starting out, where do you fit into this plan here? So you've got the drum stuff, and that's probably, you said that's most important. Guitars and stuff can be done. Yeah, whether you can do it on a 5-track at home or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. So my biggest the things that I love doing the most is I love overseeing a whole project's recording from start to finish. So currently negotiating with a really cool rock band from up here, where I will manage the whole project. So I'll book their studio time for them, talk to their drummer in advance, and I will go and engineer and record the drums with that drummer for 5 days. And in the case of, say, this band that I'm talking about, I'll also then take a portable rig to their homes and engineer their guitar sessions. We'll make sure their guitars are all in tune, which is really important. And I'll be the person, basically hitting record, talking them through the takes. That wasn't, quite good enough. Let's try this one again until everything's captured. And then once the drums, bass, and guitar are all done and edited, so I'll do the editing as well, where you... depending on the type of music, you'll either want it crazy precise if it's like a tech death band and it has to be all on the grid. But most of the productions I do, I like there to be quite a bit of a human feel to it. So you'll edit just what needs to be edited, and having all the music feeling quite good together. And then I really love going into a studio or having someone come here and tracking their vocals and running a vocal session too. So I definitely do all that, and I really love doing all that. I found I really love being a tracking engineer. I guess for me, it really helps that I've recorded my own guitars and my own vocals many times, and I really do know what it feels like to be the person doing the tracking, and you're full of doubts and nerves, and you get fatigued as you go along, and I really do know what it feels like to be the person tracking. So I feel like that's a strength of mine, that I can sort of empathize and know what the artist is going through when we're running a session.
Yep.
But once everything's tracked, then I will grab everything that we've got, make sure it's all edited, it's sounding great, and then go into the mixing process.
Yep.
Which I really, that's what I first fell in love with. I love mixing, because essentially
what's the big thing? What's the big challenges in mixing? I mean, I hear all this stuff. I see soundies going on there, you know, like, I mean, as I said to you, when you're playing, you play, and obviously I'm more the entertainer type thing, but I know, I mean, with what you do, it's a massive thing that you've got to make sure that you have that right. So what's the comparison between live and what you do?
So what the mixing, the challenges with that is you're essentially taking all of the sounds that you've captured, and if you've done a good job while you're capturing it, the music will already have the right tones. You'll have picked the right drums. Yep. You'll have, you know, made sure the guitar suits the music, etc. Take all of the sounds that come in and find homes for all of the different instruments in a way that work together, that sound powerful, that have a vibe. And you can get a lot of this wrong if you have instruments that are both trying to take up the low end, like you've got maybe just a wall of double kick drums and then the bass is trying to take the same space. You'll just end up with mud and it loses all its impact. Or especially with sort of hard rock metal, the sound of the distorted guitar wants to eat up the entire frequency spectrum. It wants to have low end. It wants to live in the mid-range where your vocals are. It wants to have high end. And you've got to find a way of carving things out of different instruments so that they can work together in a way where everything serves its intended purpose, and it sounds powerful, and it moves, and it grooves. And I loved hearing our music being mixed from the outside as a person in a band. You know, we'd send it to, say, Chris and get it back and it sounds amazing. But learning to do it myself gave me a whole new appreciation for just how much of a challenge it can be. And I found that I really love the challenge. I sort of sit down to start mixing and just hours disappear, and sometimes you go down some rabbit hole and you stay on it for way too long, and you hear it the next day and you've just lost all perspective and it sounds like shit and you have to start again. But you know, it's it really is an exciting sort of challenge, trying to get everything to work together in a way that I don't know what it is. There's something about it when you get it right. It's such a satisfying feeling. So you're sort of always just chasing that that vibe, because every song or every artist will they'll sort of need a different mix depending on what their music's trying to do. Even same artist from album to album, it'll need different things out of the mix. Some albums really want to have super dry drums and nasty sounding guitars, or some albums will want to have beautiful leads that just hang in the air, soaring vocals. So it really, every song is different and has its own personality and identity, and I find a really good mix helps really pull that out. So when I hear my favorite bands and they release something new and the mix is great, it's just so much more engaging. And I think a really great mix, you'll almost won't notice that it's a great mix. You'll just listen to the music. You'll forget about the audio of it, and you'll
just get the groove into it, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, you'll just hear a great song. Whereas if you have a mix where things aren't quite right, if it's muddy, if it's not clear, if it's really like there's frequencies in the cymbals that hurt your ears, so you can't turn it up.
That's a big thing, isn't it? You got. I mean, even when you go, like, I mean, even simple feedback live, it gives you the absolute shits, doesn't it? Like, you've really got to sort of get that right. Can I ask you 5 points for bands to come who would come to you and ask you about recording? At what point should they come and see you? What's 5 points they should have? What's 5 points if they're going to come to you and go, rightio. We're at this level. What are 5 points you would tell them? Go, have you got this sorted before they see you? What are that? What are they?
At least the way I work, where I don't really write with bands. You know, a producer might write with a band from scratch or whatever.
Right.
But for me, where I more capture songs that have been written, what I would suggest is bands. It's always preferable that the band is live and active, and that they've played the songs already live. I'd say that's a great place to start.
Yep.
But you know what? Some people don't play live, so there's just them in their bedroom and they play all the instruments. That's totally fine too. What I would always want to hear before really delving into a project is at least some kind of demo. Doesn't even have to be great quality, but something where I can hear where the song's at, what the playing's like, and because I guess some people feel like they might be ready to record, but they're struggling to perform it properly. There's only so much studio magic you can work. So you really, I think, number one, you need to have a demo that's solid enough where it's clear that the song is strong, that there's something exciting to record, and that the performance is up to scratch. So I'd say that's the first thing. Just make sure that the performance is solid and that you have songs that are ready for recording. Secondly, I think it's a good thing to have a bit of a shared vision as a band, something that you're going for as a collective. I think if you've got members that all want different things going into recording.
See that a lot, don't we?
Well, yeah, and it's that can be a hard thing to marry up, and so I think having at least that clear vision for what you all want as a collective initially is a good thing. I think you need to be with people that you can rely on as well. So having a band that's functional is, I've only been doing this professionally for a few years, so all my experiences, thankfully, have been great. But I've known bands where there's infighting, they're terrible with money, they just don't have their shit together. So this sort of process can be something that takes place over a year, sometimes longer.
Yep.
And it involves, we try and offer pretty good value for the rates we do, but it's, for a 5-track EP, we can be talking thousands, and, as you go up to albums, it's a significant investment. So you really need to have a functional band that are great with each other and just a professional. They'll show up for recordings. They'll
number 5, mate. That's 4. What do you think the last point would be? What do you reckon?
Are there really good quality instruments to play on?
Yep.
Or at least an openness to try an instrument that's not yours. If you get a guitar that won't stay in tune, or if you've got an amp that just sounds terrible, or drums that don't hold tune, it really all does add up. So
it's really funny about that one. When I play in the Wasp band, I mean, I know my BC Rich goes out of tune pretty damn quick. So these are simple points, but I don't think people really gel on the foundation. I'm going to move on to number 5 points that you're going to offer for bands. What would they came to you? What's your top 5? What's your top 5 for you to go on and produce, or what were you going to offer, or how is this going to marry up when they get to a point where they go, mate, we want you to do an album with us. We want you to produce or help with the audio. What's the 5 points you are going to offer them?
So what I can provide?
What you're going to provide? Yeah, your main skill, your main. Well, I guess it's not even a passion. It's basically what the skill, the high level of skill that you've got. What are you going to give to them to make them the best thing they can be? Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm at the point now where I can track a band to a very high level. So I know how to position microphones. I know how to get your drums sounding great. I know how to capture sounds in a very professional way. It's taken a lot of experimentation for me to get there, but I'm quite confident now when a band comes to me, provided we have quality instruments to work with and a quality performance, I know we can get a good sound. So I think that's number 1. Number 2, I think a big thing I offer is the experience of being the person being recorded. So I know what it feels like to, have doubts about parts of your song. I know what it feels like to be. What
are some of those doubts? Let's go through. Let's go hit that. What are some of that? What do you feel? Because you've done it for 20 odd years and you've done the recording on your 5th album. What are some of the doubts you have? Is it with your vocals? Is it with the feel of the song? What do you think?
So a lot of the time, you just, until you've heard the whole thing together with vocals and mixed, you're still never sure it's great or not. And yeah, we're on our 5th album now with this collection of songs. We've now finished our 5th one, and I'm really happy with how it sounds. But I remember going into the studio, and we have songs where it's just riffs. The vocals aren't even finished being written yet, and you start to think, is it going to come together? Will it be boring halfway through? Am I just faking it? It's like,
Yeah.
is someone going to finally find out that I've written my last good song? It's a natural for a creative, I think, to always be your own worst critic. And I'm definitely not immune to that. I know what it feels like to be unsure that your songs are as strong as you hope they are.
Number 3.
Yeah, number 3. So the first 2 I said, yeah, so being in a band and capturing good sounds. Number 3, I really believe I'm quite a strong mix engineer. I've, through the years of practicing, training, and doing it professionally the last couple of years, really have developed my skills where I can make instruments work together extremely well. I'm great at choosing samples where they're required for drums. Got a big library of sounds to draw on. Always love using live performances from the microphones as much as possible.
Yeah.
Every now and then we need to add some samples to add some extra power or fill in a gap where it's lacking. But I've really gotten to the point where I enjoy carving out space for instruments, getting the vibe right, a mix not to feel too crushed or over limited so that it breathes and suits the band. Yep. I really feel like my mixes are strong. So that'd be number 3.
Number 4.
I do feel like I am a very strong communicator.
Because you know your band. I mean, I've seen you perform. I've seen you. I mean, you don't just do video clips. Some of the professional video. Because I mean, you're an artist too. You did our Raw Meat Wasp album.
That's right.
So you have a sense of creativity and a sense of purpose, and I guess in a sense of perfection in a lot of ways.
That's right.
The Raw Meat thing is the best in the world. I've put it up against some. I'm not blowing wind up.
No.
I've looked at all the guys in the other countries. Japan with the Wasp band in Japan, Blind Texas in Texas. Wasp in Arizona. All my friends, and I'm telling you, yours is the closest to Blackies.
Thank you,
hint, Blackie's seen it.
That's great.
Yeah. We'll talk about that off so, but Blackie's seen them. Don't worry, hint. I went and of course I did. But I think the sense of creativity for me is, and the sense of perfection for what you want to do.
That's right. It's I really, for me, I've got such a. The project feels like it becomes something that I am a part of, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It always belongs to the artist, and I'm there sort of to serve the vision of the artist. I don't have that thing where I want to take over. I really want people to get the product that they're excited about and that matches sort of what they envisage. But for me, it's such an exciting, I guess, privilege to be in a position where a band trusts you enough to sort of oversee this whole process.
Yeah.
For me, having that come out well and have everyone happy is such a great feeling, and something that I just chase.
You've got a good manner yourself. I mean, you can say by what you're doing. I mean, you can see that you've got a good manner. You want to be, you want to do the best you can. I mean, we've been mates for years. I know exactly what your manner is. And it's a case of justifying that we're mates or anything. I've seen your performances. I've seen the quality of work you've done, especially in Malice, obviously in Malice's wake. You know what I mean? It's not hard to. It's not. Sorry, should I say it's not easy to get to that level. Number 5. Yeah. What's your last
number 5? So last one, I would say, let me just think for a moment.
Would you say the output? I was looking at, I wrote a few things down. I was looking at the output of what you actually do as a performer. And I think that passion comes in to what you're doing. I mean, your artwork is as I said to you, with the Raw Meat thing, your artwork is stuff. So having that quality and having that quality.
What that makes me think of, is I love especially heavy music, and listen to I've been such a diehard, thrash metal, death metal, just all things heavy band related over the year, that I do understand the genre. I mean, I know how old school death metal's supposed to sound. I know how, a modern thrash band's supposed to sound. I know what's a Swedish inspired melodic death band's supposed to sound
Talk
like.
about Rammstein or something like that, yeah?
Well, something like At the Gates, or we did a vocal track to a project for. They're all based in Sweden except for the singer, who's based here, but we tracked his vocals. They're called Fimble Winter. Great project, but they sound very much like Swedish melodic death metal band At the Gates, at least vocally. So I knew what he was going for. I know how that sound's supposed to work together, and so I think that understanding. I mean, you could go to an engineer that doesn't really love heavy music, and they won't always understand what it's supposed to sound like, because people that don't love this type of music, sometimes, not always, but sometimes will miss the nuance and really what we're trying to achieve with these crazy vocals and this.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
It's really it's crazy music, and I think unless you love it, it's hard to put yourself in the position where you bring it to life in a way that the band expects to hear too. So yeah, I do feel like understanding how the genre is supposed to sound is a strength of mine as well.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to go on to part two. We want to know a bit about where Malice's Wake's going and how that fits into your new business.
Great.
You've got that. So part two is coming up. Go and get a drink of water. Whatever you need to do. If you are a thrash metal band and you're listening to this, get involved. Get involved with Shaun. See how he goes. And mate, I'll tell you, I'm going to vouch for him anyway. But have a look at Malice's Wake and the quality of music and the quality of production that they do is second to none. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to part two coming up very soon. Go and get yourself a water. Go to the toilet. Go to the dunny. You know how it is. I'm talking like Steve Irwin. That's the way it is. And we'll say hello to the goat. We'll go say what the goat. The goat. He knows who he is, the goat.
He sure does.
Big shout out to the goat. Okay, goat. Go Pots, yellow bag. We'll talk to you soon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll speak with Shaun from Malice's Wake. We'll see you soon. Want to do a big shout out to our friends and supporters at Liberty Bullion. Sammy and the team are the best gold, silver and platinum traders in Australia. Make good choices. Give them a call. Back to the show.